This section continues with more exponent rules. Continuing with our exponent rules, let's look at the power rule for exponents, which deals with raising an exponential expression to a power. So, if you have an exponential expression and that is raised to another power, then you leave that same initial base, but you multiply the exponents together. So in this case, our result would be x to the m times n. In the example, we can see we have 3 to the 4th and that quantity raised to the 6th power. So again, we leave the base 3 and then multiply the exponents together, which gives us 3 to the 24th. Finally, let's look at two last rules when it comes to exponents. We have finding powers of product rule, where it says if there's any quantity that is being multiplied together by each other and that whole thing being raised to a power, you basically distribute this power to each term within this quantity. So as a result, you have x being raised to the nth power and y being raised to the nth power. So if we look at this example, we have 5 times x raised to the 4th power. So that 4 gets distributed to both the 5 and this x. And keep in mind, they're still exponents. It's not multiplying 5 by 4, but it's raising 5 to the 4th power, and the same goes for the x. So we're left with 5x times 5x times 5x times 5x. And we know that if we look at splitting those up, we can put all of the coefficients and multiply those together first, and then multiply all the variables together. If we rewrite this using exponents, you can see since we multiplied 5 together 4 times, it leaves us with 5 to the 4th power, and then we multiplied x by itself 4 times, which leaves us with x to the 4th power. And if you simplify that even further, since 5 to the 4th power is 625, we're left with an answer of 625 x to the 4th. Now let's look at how to find the powers of quotients. It's very similar to when you have a product, but notice here, instead of being multiplied together, we have the quantity being divided. So this power that it's being raised to needs to be distributed to both the numerator and the denominator. And remember that you're not multiplying by the n, but the n is the power that the numerator and denominator is being raised to. So you're left with x to the n divided by y to the n. So if we look over at the example, we have the quantity of 5 divided by x all raised to the 4th power. And we know that you can rewrite this as that quantity being multiplied by itself 4 times. And then, if you simplify that even further, since when you multiply by fractions, you multiply across the top and bottom, we're left with 5 multiplied together 4 times in the numerator, and x multiplied together 4 times in the denominator. So if we write that in an exponential form, we have 5 to the 4th in the numerator and x to the 4th in the denominator. And again, if we simplify 5 to the 4th, we are left with 625 divided by x to the 4th. Notice that when you utilize that quotient rule, we can go right from this initial problem down to this step right here by skipping the first 2 steps, because we know that 4 has to be distributed into the numerator and into the denominator. So really, by knowing this rule, it saves us steps and we can find the answer faster.